Hello, thanks for joining me. So today we are going to discuss the Big Brother Season 22 All-Stars finale. Can't believe I'm saying that, but we saw the finale episode, the 2-hour finale episode aired this past Wednesday on CBS, and the season is over. Season 22 has come to an end, and again, I've said before, I feel like we just started the season, and now it's over. So we have a lot to discuss, of course. Big 2-hour episode. So as we were going into the episode, we had seen on the previous episode that the first part of the final HOH had been played, and of course Nicole on the very first part, which was the endurance comp. So Nicole was already going to advance to the third part of the final HOH automatically. So the second part of the final HOH was what we started the episode with, and that was with, of course, Cody against Enzo, and that was called, the competition was called Camera Hogs. So it was kind of cute. It was they had evicted house guests or jury members, I think, on like cardboard cutouts, and Cody and Enzo had to figure out from the clue who were the right answers, which jurors or which house guests, evicted house guests were the right answers to the question, and then they had to stand them up and like a stand, and then they had to get back on the other side and flip these pigs, which is why it was called hogs, that were swinging back and forth, and try to get a clear shot of the to take a picture of the answer. So that was kind of fun. It was kind of a cool competition. And of course we saw Enzo choke and had messed up that one where he didn't read the clue good and thought he was only supposed to be getting 2 house guests, and really it was 3 house guests that he was supposed to be answering with. So his time was pretty high. And then Cody, of course, did it and for a little over 4 minutes. So Enzo had his little meltdown, and it was his first real time that he got upset of the season. First time he kind of lost it all season. And I had kind of been hearing him on the live feeds. I watched a lot of live feeds this year when they were on, since they kind of cut him a lot this year. As those who watch live feeds, I'm sure knew, we saw a lot of stars. But I was watching live feeds a lot, and when I saw Enzo complaining on the live feeds that he did lose it after that competition, I was so curious to see. So we did get to see Enzo getting really upset that he did so poorly in the competition, knowing his life, his big brother life was in danger if he didn't win it, and his fate was going to be in either Nicole or Cody's hands. So I felt kind of bad, and you could tell Cody and Nicole felt really bad for him. So that was the first part of this episode, seeing that and seeing Cody, of course, win the second part of the final HOH. So we have now, of course, Nicole versus Cody in the third part of the final HOH. Then the next thing I think we saw was the jury, and we saw Christmas joining the jury. And they kind of all, had their discussion without Dr. Will this year because of COVID. So we saw Dr. Will earlier in the season as the neighbor, and he did not join in on the jury roundtable discussion this year like he usually does. So it was kind of sad not to see Dr. Will there for that. It's kind of a tradition. But I saw Christmas join, and then everybody kind of talking about, and Christmas kind of saying that she, saw how tight that Cody, Enzo, and Nicole really were, and she didn't know who was going to take who, depending on who won. It was hard to say who would take who because they all seemed pretty tight. They all kind of talked. They didn't give us obviously much information to say who they were going to vote for. They obviously still didn't know who was going to be the final 2 at that point. And they kind of said it was kind of, Memphis said the game was totally up for grabs. So, but it was kind of fun to hear some of their opinions. And we had our one more David moment of the season. Poor David. We heard David say, we heard David ask, what is jury management? So they had to tell David explain what jury management was. So yeah, so that kind of summed up David's season right there. And then, so that was fun to see the jury. And then we had, of course, the big exciting part, which is the part 3 of the final HOH, which played out live, Cody versus Nicole. And this time it was I never really liked in the past when it was the competition where it was kind of like a game of chance to me, like where the jurors would give different statements, and you had the competitors had to decide what the jurors said, because I always thought that was really, like I said, a game of chance, and it was just kind of guessing. I've heard people say online that it was how much you know the jurors, but really, I mean, they could say anything. So I always didn't really like that competition, and I was hoping they wouldn't do that one this year for All Stars. I got my wish, because they did not do that exact one where the jurors, like in their own words, said something. And maybe it was because of COVID again that they did that, but they had like a record. Every juror had a record, and they had 3 facts, and you had to decide which of the facts about that juror was incorrect. Excuse me. So you had to figure out which of the 3 statements did not apply to the juror. So I thought it was kind of a good competition. Let me know if, I can't remember if they'd ever done this exact one before for a final. I know they've done this before, I'm pretty sure, but I don't think they've ever done it as the final HOH, but let me know. I can't remember, maybe they have before. So if you guys know, let me know in the comments. But I did like that competition, and I played along, and I actually got all of them right except for one. So I missed the Tyler question. I didn't know all the answers, but I kind of did process of elimination. I always kind of knew 2 were wrong, so the other one had to be right. Or 2 were right, so the other one had to be wrong. I'm confusing myself at this point. But anyway, I got all of them right except for Tyler's, so that was fun. And then poor Nicole missed the very first Ian question, so that did not bode well for her. I kept thinking Cody was for sure going to miss at least one throughout the game, but that didn't happen, and Cody had a perfect game. So of course Nicole was eliminated, and Cody is our final 3rd part HOH winner. Our final entire final HOH, not just 3rd part and final HOH winner. So Cody, of course, pulling it out again. We expect no less from him at this point. So yeah, so that was we saw Cody win, and then we saw him get very upset, and I was upset. I was crying along with Cody, because he obviously had a very big decision to make, and I completely always thought that he would take Nicole and Nicole would take him if they, were the final HOH. So I was just kind of assuming that for sure Cody was going to take Nicole to the final 2. And then he kind of did his speech. They did their speeches, and it was kind of sad. And then just to hear them. And then, Nicole said she wouldn't cut him. And then Enzo said, you've been, everything I did for you, which is, oh my gosh, that was crazy. I was like crying already during Enzo's speech. Is that weird to cry during Big Brother? I don't know, but I totally cried during this finale. I don't think I ever have before. I don't know why this one was just so emotional with Enzo and like their relationship, I just think, and knowing the players from beforehand, it made it more invested. To me, I was more invested in the players. I know a lot of people don't like the whole All-Stars thing and they want all new players, but I kind of like it every once in a while. Of course, not every year, which they would never do anyway, but every once in a while I kind of like an All-Star season. I kind of like just knowing the players from the beginning. You don't have to learn their names. That's one bonus. You know everybody's name. And I just kind of like that I already know kind of their personalities, know who they are. And then that kind of felt, like I said, more invested in them. So I was kind of crying through this whole finale when they gave Nicole and Enzo gave their final speeches to persuade Cody to take them. And Enzo was just saying that he did everything, including keeping Nicole in the house for Cody. Oh my gosh. So it was so hard to watch. And then, of course, we we finally got our big move. We've been waiting all season for a blindside and for someone to make a huge move. And we finally got it in the finale. So we finally saw Cody evicting Nicole and keeping Enzo, which I was shocked. I kind of knew it was going to happen when Cody said in his speech that he had the same thing with him. He said to he was talking and kind of directing it at Nicole at that point, and said, I know we were tight since the beginning, and I had the same thing with him. I'm like as soon as he said that, I don't know, it kind of clicked that he was going to take Enzo. So he did. So poor Nicole evicted. So she was not going to be the first ever 2-time winner of Big Brother like she thought she might be. So still no 2-time winner of Big Brother. And Enzo finally got to sit in the chairs on finale night. So let me know what you guys think about all that. That's a lot of stuff to discuss right there. So yeah, big move. And I just thought it was really sweet how thankful Enzo was after he found out he was going to Final Two, he was just so, like, he was crying and I was crying more, and Cody was crying. He felt bad about Nicole, and you could tell he didn't want to like hug Enzo and celebrate until Nicole left. Enzo was trying to celebrate before she even got out the door, and Cody's kind of like, ah. So yeah, very emotional finale of Big Brother season 22. So let me know, were you guys choked up like me, or am I just wimpy? I don't know. Anyone else crying out there? So yeah, so we got to see, then the jury, of course, got to see Nicole coming out, and then we got to see jury questions, and I think Enzo had a little trouble, and Memphis said it best during the jury session earlier in the show, that he didn't know if Enzo could articulate his gameplay to them, and he was, in my opinion, 100% correct. Enzo was Enzo, and it didn't seem like he practiced his speech or anything he was going to say to the jury to answer the jury questions. So he kind of was almost making the case for Cody to win even stronger. I was just helping Cody out there. And then they were laughing, and he said, like, I did win some comms too. And they started laughing. And then he was upset they were laughing, and Cody had to like tell him they weren't laughing at him. So that was kind of funny. Enzo's still making us laugh all the way till the very end, even if he wasn't too happy about it this time. So yeah, so of course Cody made, his good points. I thought at one point he was kind of ticking off the jury members with his answer, saying how he got rid of everyone and, kind of evicted everyone, and it was all him. So I thought for a minute maybe he was taking some people off, and Enzo might get some votes there, but Enzo just helped Cody's case, and said that he kind of rode Cody's coattails. He didn't say it maybe exactly like that, but saying that he used Cody as a weapon and a shield, and I don't know, so that was the best thing for Enzo to say. But he did say that he was friends with everyone in the house, and he was never on the block until the end, that was very impressive. But Cody was never either. So it was kind of, Enzo really didn't have a leg to stand on, because the only thing he really had was that he was never on the block the whole time and never really a target. But Cody wasn't either, and then Cody had all his other accomplishments on top of that. So unfortunately, Enzo didn't really have a leg to stand on with winning, because anything he did, Cody pretty much had done, plus some, in my opinion. The only thing maybe Enzo did was have a little better relationship with like everybody in the house from the beginning, like everybody. And then Cody, because a lot of people didn't really love Cody during, the gameplay, because, they were against him. But Enzo was just kind of everybody's friend, so maybe that was the only thing. But that was, to me, not enough to win. So, of course, we saw everyone vote, and then we had a unanimous decision, and Cody, our Big Brother Season 22 All-Stars winner. Thank goodness. I don't know. If it would have gone any other way, I think I would not have been happy. So I'm so glad. I wasn't really too sure who I wanted to get to, to get him to take Final Two, and who to get second place and win the $50,000. I wasn't really sure myself. I kind of wanted Enzo, because Nicole had won before, but I felt bad for either of them, of course, not winning. But I'm really happy how it played out. I'm happy that Cody won. I'm happy that Enzo got the $50,000 and finally got to sit in Final Two. And, Nicole had won before, so I think everything turned out how it should be. And I think most people were very happy with it, and think that the finale kind of saved the whole entire season. So a lot of people didn't seem to like this season, but a lot of people said the finale kind of just saved the whole season, and it was everything was worth it in the end, because it all turned out how it should. So let me know if you guys agree with that, if you're happy with how it turned out, that Cody won, and if you kind of felt like the season wasn't great, but this kind of saved it. Just let me know your opinions on all that. And then one other thing to note is that the OTEB curse is also broken. I don't know if you've heard of the OTEB curse, but I guess nobody who has won the OTEB veto competition during the season has ever won the game. So that was kind of interesting tidbit I learned. So OTEB curse is broken because, of course, Cody won OTEB this season, and then he won this season. So that is go Cody. He broke that curse. So yay. And then Devon, of course, winning America's favorite house guest. So Devon won that. Julie said Tyler was runner-up. And so that was, she gets her $25,000 for America's Favorite House Guest. and I forgot to vote, which is bad. I kept wanting to do it, and then I had to log in. I didn't have my password on, my laptop, and I feel bad I didn't vote. But Devon won, so that kind of happy that Tyler didn't win. He won it last time. I was fine with Tyler winning it, but I didn't think his gameplay was as strong this time, so it's nice for someone else to get that. So I think, that was mostly the episode. It was funny when Cody walked out and got scared by the confetti that shot out of the cannons or whatever. It was kind of cute. I had to rewatch that part a couple times. I think, again, extremely happy with the outcome. I think one thing that would have made the whole season better, of course, would have just been some general thoughts about the whole season. I'm going to say now is that, of course, if Janelle and Kaiser would have gotten some soldiers on their side of the house and kind of teamed up against Cody's side, it's kind of always fun when that happens. That happens in a lot of seasons where there's kind of the two sides of the house and they fight it out, and then the power shifts, and we all like that. And then we like some back doors, and we like some surprises. And this season, like I said, didn't really have any of that. So I think that would have made the season more interesting if I was rooting so bad for Janelle and Kaiser to win something, which, nobody on that side was winning anything, so they couldn't do it. But that would have been kind of fun to see Janelle Kaiser team, and then get Nicole Anthony if she would have wisened up and stayed on their side, and, Kevin and maybe Devon and Bailey even gone on that side, and then we would have had, all the big Danny, Enzo, Cody, players that we saw, like the Slick Six and the committee on the other side. That would have been fun. So that would have been a great season, but we didn't get that. So hopefully we'll have something like that next season where there's like two strong sides of the house, and they kind of duke it out the whole season. But yeah, so I think another just general note, I think the players knowing each other before the season, of course, Nicole and Cody having played before on season 16, kind of made it even more difficult, for each of them to decide who to vote out. If you just met someone like 3 months ago or 2.5 months ago, to me it'd be a lot easier to make the decision and say, I'm voting you out, and you're not that invested, you're not that close to them. But since they knew each other and they're obviously friends outside the house to some degree, I'm not sure to what degree, I think that made that a much harder decision for poor Cody, being friends with Nicole previously. So that was just another aspect of the All-Stars part of it, that just made it harder for him to make that decision. And then, so what do you guys think about goats, our greatest of all times? Discussed it earlier in other videos. Of course, we have our Dr. Will, we have Dan, we have Derek, and now do we have Cody? Would you call him a goat? I almost would call him a goat. He definitely played. I think some of those other players were more interesting. Dr. Will obviously was insanely interesting and funny. The way he played was just he probably couldn't get away with that stuff today, and he probably wouldn't win today. But and Dan was very interesting. And then in the season, he didn't win where he threw his own funeral. They kind of played some big moves, the other goats. I don't know if Derek, I wouldn't say Derek did as much. Out of those three, I'd say Derek was probably the most low-key, just played a really great game. And Dan and Will were a little more over the top. But I'd say, Derek's little grasshopper that learned from him and then won. And Derek was very happy on Instagram Live and smoking a cigar and playing We Are the Champions when Cody won. That was really cute. I don't know. I think Cody could almost be considered a goat. Let me know what you guys think. I know you guys have some pretty strong feelings about your goats. But Cody played, to me, a flawless game. It was All-Stars, so it was kind of hard, to judge it as much as the other guys. But I don't know. I think he was just incredibly great player. So yeah, so let me know in the comments, again, everything about this season, everything about this 2-hour finale, what you guys think. Are you happy with the outcome? Anything else you want to let me know? I'd be happy to talk Big Brother with you guys. And then Julie did announce that we're going to have a season 23 next summer. I was kind of hoping for a winter version, either celebrity or otherwise, but there was some rumors that was going to happen, but she didn't mention it, so I'm assuming it's not happening and we're not going to have another season until next summer, but at least it has been renewed for season 23 and we will be getting it again, so we will definitely be talking all things Big Brother again next year. And then join me, I'm going to be talking Amazing Race soon. I'm going to start that. Big Brother took a lot of my time because it's my favorite show, watching the live feeds and watching all the episodes and being online, and takes up, obviously, as you guys know, a lot of my reality TV viewing time. So I mostly did some Big Brother videos up until now. But now that Big Brother's over, I'm going to get into, like I said, Amazing Race and maybe some of the other shows. So definitely join me. So subscribe to my channel to hear those things and watch some other videos, and like and comment, and we will see you guys again soon. Thanks for joining again. Bye-bye.